I'm your host, Rob Carbone. This is BD4.
Barrett from Shake is big. Hits a three. Stands alive in the crowd. Oh, hang on to the roof. Goodbye. Anthony for three. That one goes down. Gotta put four fingers up when Torres comes to the plate. The ball. See ya.
All right, so we are back with the Yankees for a bit, for episode 204, rather. Not for a bit, but yes, we are back. Hope everybody's doing well. I am your host, RJ Carbone, and this is episode 204 of the podcast of BD4. Sorry, we had a little bit of a lag there in the beginning. I think we're good now. That is if you're watching the podcast. But yes, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. We are talking Yankees because obviously they made some big moves yesterday. First of all, in the morning, they brought back DJ LeMahieu. So me and Greg and I touched on that. And the Yankees also brought back, or took a flyer on, Corey Kluber, who, a veteran in this league for a while. Good pitcher, has had a solid career, and so the Yankees brought him, signed him as well. So it's, it was a good day, and I'm happy about it. So I don't want to waste too much of your time. I don't really want to get into anything myself, because Greg and I pretty much covered a bunch. We talked about the Mayhew deal, we talked about the Kluber deal, and we talked about a lot more regarding the Yankees. So let's just hop right into it. Let's just hop right into the conversation that Greg and I had for about an hour. Greg is a friend of the show. I've been on his show. He's got a podcast called Yankee Crazy Podcast. You can find him on wherever you get your podcasts at. His information will be down below in the description. If you're watching the podcast, it'll be on the screen in a second. So yeah, let's just not kill any time with any advertisements, or we won't get to the question of the day tonight. We'll just get right into the conversation that Greg and I had for about an hour on the Yankees, and talked about what we think and what we hope for. Obviously those are two different things, expectation versus reality, but hey, it was a good time. And again, he was fantastic. We had a really, really spectacular conversation. So I thank you, Greg, once again for joining the show. One of the better guests we've had so far. We don't have many guests, but no, really, you were great. So thank you for coming on, and let's get right into the conversation that Greg and I had. Why not? Why waste any time? So guys, thank you so much for stopping by. All right, I'll see you next time. Let's get right to it, and I'll see you for 205. So we'll have an episode, obviously, going back to the Knicks after Sunday night, which is tomorrow. But as you're listening to this, it should be Saturday night. So let's get to the conversation that Greg and I had. All right, ciao. We, after months of trying to figure out what we're going to do with DJ, we finally get that news. And it's 6 years for $90 million. So that was, to me, I thought that was a steal. And
yeah,
I want to know your thoughts on that whole thing.
Yeah, that was big. Me and you have been texting about this since October, I think. And so many people I know. My brother, actually the night before had texted me like, what's going on with this? And big day. And one of the big things that I really love about I love DJ, love that signing from the start. And The thing that I love about that contract is how it's team friendly. That shows you how cool of a guy he is, where he wants to play for the Yankees. It's almost like he wants to do whatever wants to get his money, but will help the team out. And even if that's 4 years, 4 good years of him, and those last 2 are a wash, hey, it's worth it. It is great. Love it all.
Yeah, man, and that's like the thing. I was not expecting. So $90 million across 6 is, I think I did the math. It's like 15 or something per season.
Yeah,
that's nothing for somebody like him who, won 2 batting titles and is now in MVP conversations year to year. Yeah. I was expecting, honestly, I was saying earlier, like a couple months ago, I was expecting 5 years for 140, 150 million. But this guy's getting 10 less annually than I expected. I mean, that's huge. Yeah. And you're right, man. It does go, it speaks volumes of who he is, and he's a team guy. He just wants to be in New York and he wants to win. So I thought that was huge. And he's so big to this team. And I want to know your thoughts on what you think you could expect next year from DJ. And honestly, to me, I think he's as consistent as anybody. And so if I was to give anybody a 6-year deal, it would be DJ, just because I think he's a guy that doesn't really rely on strength and athleticism. He's straight up fundamentals. So I think if you're expecting one guy to live up to that contract, it's going to be LeMahieu.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with it that he is just so consistent. And like you said, the crazy thing about him coming to the team was, okay, he's going to be, they thought maybe like a utility guy, and he becomes a big star on the biggest stage in sports and MVP. 2 years in a row, what was he, third? And
he was third, and I think top 4.
Yeah, crazy. And, you could make a case that he deserved the MVP. Maybe both of those years you can make a case for him. And I agree with you. Man, he is consistent. He is a robot, as we know, right? So perfection and consistency. But seriously, you bring up a lot of good points. He is an athletic guy, and he doesn't rely on speed. So it's not like his legs are going to go like some of these guys who are all about that. And he just the guy can hit. And you look at guys who go older into their career who could hit, and guys slow down a little bit, but he's still not going to be super old towards the end of that contract, because is he 31 now?
Yeah, I think I looked it up yesterday. I think he's 31. He might be 32 this season. I don't know when his birthday.
Yeah, you might be right. He might
just had his birthday, actually. I don't know. He's still fairly young, for a 30-something-year-old. So
right, and if he stays in shape, which I just see him staying in shape, and he seems like the kind of guy who going into when he signed those the 2-year deal originally with the Yankees, there was a quote that he said to an old coach of his where he said, "I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to take these 2 years and just kind of prove himself and show that he is an elite major leaguer." And he did that, and I just see more of the same from him. And really, like you said, if you could give that contract to anybody, DJ is a very safe bet.
Yeah, man, and he's just a fan favorite. He's a humble dude. He's a lot of people like to compare his persona to Derek Jeter, in a way, where he's just quiet, says the right thing, and shuts up and does his job, right? He's not really flashy or anything like that, and he doesn't need to be. He goes up at the plate. He's their leadoff hitter. He puts the ball in play, and on the flip side, he plays multiple positions and he plays them all well. So I'm so thrilled to have him back, man. I think, especially to the way this lineup seems to be very reliant on the home run, to get somebody like DJ to kind of balance things out is just huge at the top of that order.
Yeah, absolutely. You need that. You need that high average contact guy, not too many strikeouts, and he just, you put the ball in play and things happen, especially in the playoffs. That's the big thing, all these years of Yankees just waiting for the big moment to have the big home run, and that's, as we know, is not always going to come true. But here's a guy like DJ. There was a clip of him that I saw yesterday. Everybody going crazy on Twitter, posting things, and I think it was against Cleveland last year in the playoffs. Just this little ground ball up the middle that they went ahead, late in the game on that, and that's the thing. Just put the ball in play. You never know what's going to happen.
Dude, it's the simple shit with him. Like, it's whatever needs to be done, he'll do it. He doesn't try to do too much of the plate, which I think is a lot of issues with, some of the other Yankees is they go up there and they try to force things, right? They try to press, and a lot of guys are swinging for the fences. But, as we said, he just takes wherever the pitch is, he's going to hit it in that direction. He's going to take what's coming to him, and he's just a very smart baseball player, very high IQ player out there. So
yeah, he is. And like you said, what is his? Did he have on his nickname on his back? Was it Big Fundy?
I think it was.
Right? Isn't that? And that's a great ball player. That's what you need. A guy who is like, almost old school, like those guys who just, were gritty, put the ball in play and just went about their business. And I love him.
Yeah, I know. I can't say enough of it. And it's funny because I'm not going to lie, I was that arrogant fan who was pushing for Manny Machado a couple of years ago in the offseason. And we didn't get him. And, worse, I saw we signed LeMahieu. I'm like, oh, what are we doing with this guy? I talked myself into a corner. And now, I have nothing but to laugh at that. But I'm happy we have him.
Yeah, I in a sense wanted them to sign Machado. Everyone was saying
everybody,
like, he's kind of a bum. He's going to get, did some dirty things here and there, and was going to get this big contract. And everyone was like, oh, too big of a contract for the Yankees to sign. And on one side, I'm like, my whole attitude: spend, go look. That's what do I care? And they didn't do it, and it was. Obviously now, hindsight's 2020. It was a great move, and I love to, pat. Don't break your arm patting yourself on the back, but I loved it when they made that move on my podcast. I said it was a great move, and it has turned out to be, just amazing. Like you said, you can't say enough good things about DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, man, for sure. Now, we also made another move yesterday, which, I can't hate. You got to taking a flyer on Corey Kluber, veteran Corey Kluber, who I think it was a 1 year, 10 or 11 million for next season.
Yeah, maybe 11 I had read.
Yeah, that's not bad at all, dude. Considering, this is a guy with, I know it's a cliche, but he's a guy with veteran experience. He's, played for over a decade now, maybe. And he's, we're hoping to catch a little bit of, lightning in a bottle here, and hopefully he can give you one more great season. So what do you think about the Corey Kluber deal?
Yeah, it's almost one of those no lose situations, It's just money. Yankees have some good money, although they're getting close to that cap, and they're trying to be, really, really safe with the money. But it's great because, like you said, they could catch lightning in a bottle with him, and they love those. They love those low risk, big upside potential on guys. Guy is a veteran. Yankees have a lot of young pitchers who he can help. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully, he's going to give them a full season. I think he had this the shoulder issue. Hopefully that's good. He supposedly pitched really well at that, scouting tryout, whatever you want to call that thing. And it's a win situation for the Yankees. Low risk for them, and could be amazing if he pitches just solid. If he's just a solid, wherever they slot him in, if it's going to be number 2, number 3, who knows? They're hopefully going to make some more moves. But it's a great move because between his knowledge and Garrett Cole's knowledge, he can help these young pitchers like the Garcia, the Clark Schmidt, and even Monty. He's still a young guy. So great move. Yesterday was, fantastic day. We've been waiting for something. And it was almost like a bonus with getting Kluber yesterday.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Especially with Cashman, it'll be quiet for a while, and then you'll get the big news in one day. You'll get 1 or 2 signings or one big signing or something, just out of nowhere. There was nothing leading up to it. We just kind of got it out of the blue there. So I like the Kluber deal too. I think he's going to be 35 soon, but it's only a 1-year deal. And, the last time he was healthy, he was very, very effective in, 2018. So, this is a 2-time Cy Young guy. It's a 3-time All-Star. This is somebody with the ERA is 3.16, I think, over the course of his career. So he's got playoff history. I know he struggled a couple of times, but he did have that really good run in 2016 when the Indians took the Cubs to the World Series. So he's listen, he's with the way the pitching market is right now, this is one of the better low risk signings, like you said. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Now you kind of mentioned, you hope we can make some other moves. What do you think? I know Trevor Bauer's out there. I know George Springer's out there, in the outfield, Brantley as well. And then, Real Muto, he was offered 9 figures the other day. I don't know if he declined or accepted.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah. And then there's also Molina, who still hasn't signed. So do you think we're going to do anything else in the infield, in the outfield, in the bullpen, in the rotation? What do you think?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of talk of the Reds, Luis Castillo, who I didn't really know a lot about.
Yes.
I looked up his stats this morning, and playing on the Reds, so you gotta give a little bit with that. He's not the greatest win-loss record. I think he's as a 500 pitcher. He had I think it was 2019. He was an All-Star. Had a good year there. Last year, I feel like you could almost give everybody a pass last year. I don't know what was going on with them, and in him in particular, I don't know. People are really high on him. They think he has a lot of potential. I think he's 28, so coming into that, as they in MLB, that's kind of like the prime age for everyone to have like their best career years. And I would like to see it. Guy seems like he has some experience. He has experience, has shown that he can be a good pitcher. And, maybe these younger guys on the Yankees are maybe they need another year. Castillo with the Reds, I think they just settled at $4.3 million for salary this upcoming year. And if that takes, supposedly, I saw some rumors of sending Clint Frazier, who I love. I'd be a little bit upset, but I understand the outfield is a bottleneck, and Miguel Andujar. And I say, you do it. You got to get the pitching. As much as I would hate to lose Clint Frazier, I think you do it for that, because there is a lot of people in the outfield, and especially if they get Brantley. You have always been telling me about Brantley, how you love him. And I looked his stats up, and the guy is, he's 30, I think he's 33. So a guy like him, it's not like he needs or is, I think he's probably not going to be looking for a really huge contract. And, maybe they work out a deal, another team-friendly deal, and they can drop some money. Some rumors, if anyone wants Ottavino, he makes $9 million a year. I think they said the Yankees, after the Kluber signing, were about $5 million away from the cap. So if you get rid of Ottavino and maybe package him with somebody else who's making a little bit, maybe you're at $15 million, and then you can get a Castillo and maybe be creative with some of those other pitchers that have been named. So there's a lot of possibilities, and I think this is a good sign that the Yankees are really going to go for it. And, maybe even have to give up some of these young pitchers like a Garcia. And, it's tough. You hate to sometimes you want to keep those young guys who have potential, and because sometimes it comes back to haunt you, and, they turn out to be really great. But I think Yankees got to be win now. You gotta really go for it.
You gotta push your chips to the middle of the table. I mean, you're in this mode where you're trying to win now. You haven't, to the Yankee standards, not winning in over a decade is a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think, especially my generation and the generation younger than me, we want to see a championship that we can remember, right? So, for me, I can barely remember 2009.
Mm-hmm.
and you go further back, you forget about it. So I just want us to be on top again, and I hope we continue to do the right moves. I think we're off to a good start here, 2 for 2. What I didn't love was seeing Gary Sanchez get a nice little promotion of $6 million. Imagine that. You can fail at your job, you can hit 144, and you get a promotion for that. Imagine that.
Yeah. Our buddy Gary. We have been bashing him after being so high with him. How things change within 2 years, and I did not like to see that. As I had written on Twitter, I was hoping that release the Kraken would have taken on a new meaning in the fall. The Yankees would have gotten rid of him. Because you see, and I think I remember sending you a screenshot of his stats, and if you take away, 2017, and you just look at him, you say, what have you done for me lately? You look at 18. I think it was like 18, 19. You see that decline. It's like going down, and the guy, as I called it, the Gary Sanchez experiment. I have said it needed to end this year. I'm not happy that he's got that contract. Obviously, got to give him a chance. I think no one wants to take him now. I would have loved Molina, as we were talking about it back in the fall. He would have been great to get for like a 2-year deal, something like that, because he's like 38, 37, right, something like that. But the guy still seems like he's got some gas in the tank. I would have loved to have seen that over Gary Sanchez. Gary's got to really come out and impress this year, or else I'm going to be going crazy.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. It is difficult because this is a guy who I was so high on him, man. Once, when he was coming through the system, he's been here since he was 16, down below. He comes up in 2016 and he hits you 20 home runs in like 50 games, and he's hitting 300. And the next year he follows up with a pretty solid sophomore season as well. Hits 280 something or whatever it was, and he hits you, 30 something more home runs. He looks really good for the first 2 seasons of his career. And what I think happened, it's maybe a combination of both things, but losing Girardi, who I think, kind of pushed him to be at his best, kind of, to me, that really did a lot. And I think once Girardi left and Boone took over, more of a laid back, friendly manager, that kind of impacted his game. I think he's just, you could see, I'm not one to talk, but you could see the weight gain. He looks a lot different than he was when he first came up. It seemed he was more serious. I don't know, but but I think it had something to do with the Girardi thing. I think, maybe the home runs started getting to his head, started chasing for the fences, and the plate discipline has just completely fallen off. And on the flip side, man, the catching is just, to me, that's even worse. He's got a cannon, that's great, but it only takes you so far to have a good arm and not really be able to do much else. He's pretty slow behind there, his side-to-side movement, the pass balls, it sucks because you wanted this guy to pan out. You really did, but 3 years, maybe 4 years going on, or 3 years going on 4, it's not looking promising anymore, and he's only getting older. And when you're a catcher, you don't have that. Yeah. You have that smaller window. The catchers have a smaller window. So I don't know, man. It sucks that he's going through this, and I'm kind of, like you said, I'm kind of just done. I think at this point, whatever the hell happens with Gary happens with Gary. I would have loved a real Muto. I didn't think that was realistic, but Molina, I think Molina would have been great. He's still out there, but honestly, I think Brian Cashman is going to stick with what we have right now, which is Gary. And, you remember last year, Greg, it was Kyle Higashioka who really made more noise than Gary in the playoffs. I think Gary did have a big hit once, but outside of maybe that one home run, Higashioka was getting time over your starting catcher. That says a lot.
Yeah, it does. And look at what happened in the playoffs. What did Higashioka started, I think, almost every game. Maybe Gary started like 2 or something.
Yeah, it was like 60-40 between those two, maybe 70-30.
Yeah, and then they said, I think they said, oh, well, if Yankees would have made it into the next round, Gary would have been starting or something like that. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if they were just trying to say that to make him feel better or what. But it's frustrating because catcher is such an important part, between handling the pitchers, having great defense, and then on the offensive end. And Gary has just been, to quote John Sterling's home run call, Gary has been scary, but not in the good scary way.
He's definitely been scary.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But they love. Sometimes the Yankees love just sticking with a guy, and like even when everybody else is like, you got to get rid of this guy, you got to make a change, you got to do something, they still stick with them, and sometimes the loyalty on some of these guys is a little too much, and they should have parted ways. But we can just all we can do is wait and see what happens, and hope for the best. I'm rooting for the guy. I don't hate the guy. No. Sometimes I hate him though. He's still on the Yankees. We're obviously rooting for him. We don't want him to do badly, but you got to perform. This is I said last year was put up or shut up. Maybe we'll give him a little bit of a pass with COVID, but this is the year. If there is a full season and things go back to at least a little semi-normal, this is the year. If he doesn't do it this year and they still hold on to him, I'll lose my mind.
It's funny because I said that. I've been saying that for 2 years, and it's like, when is the actual?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. But on a positive note, you want to look at a promising prospect, Gleyber Torres. He kind of had a down year, but he always seems. One thing I'm noticing, he's always coming through in the playoffs. And Gleyber and Urshela too. That the left side of the infield, I am really confident about. I love. Offensively at least, what Gleyber Torres is doing, and I love what Gio was bringing on both ends.
Yeah, and Gleyber, I think they just came to an agreement yesterday for $4 million. I think he's getting this year. So $4 million for him at this point is a steal. He's gonna, if he keeps progressing the way he's doing, they're gonna have to pay him some more money. But worry about that a little bit later. Love Gleyber. He is clutch, playoff Gleyber. As long as he's wearing his glasses. Right. Gleyber. But he's shown that he can come up clutch. I know a lot of people are down on his defense at shortstop. You want to see that improve. I did notice, a couple of errors in some spots in the playoffs that, from what I can recall, didn't come back to haunt them. So it definitely needs to step up there. It needs to be just automatic, but solid. Still, I think he's still a solid defender, and hitting when he is on, man, he is on. He is untouchable. And Gio, what a surprise. Gio is like the story of the past, 2 years?
I love him.
Love his energy. You see some of the defensive plays he makes, and it's really astounding. Guy is phenomenal. And then the hitting, that was what they always had said historically was his weak spot. And he just, clutch. He hit that grand slam right in the playoffs. Oh man, that was incredible. Dude, love him. Yeah, like you said, love the left side of the infield.
Yeah, the range of emotions I was going through, it was that one night against Cleveland where he hit that grand slam game. Yeah. Dude, that was the most stressful night of my life. Like, it was like my cousins and a couple of my siblings.
Yes.
We were out in the garage. We kind of turned it into a little man cave, and we were watching all night. And man, like the score changes, I was just going insane. I lost my voice. I had to skip class the next day because I just couldn't do it. I was just exhausted mentally, physically. Yeah. But you know what? That is the fun part of the playoff baseball. And I think if there's one thing you could say is despite there not being a crowd last year, it really just, it's still, to me at least, it felt the same. watching the Yankees in the postseason. It still felt exciting. You still got really, really hyped up and thrilled for those games. And like you mentioned, just the clutch hitting by Gio, by Torres, it was huge, man. I loved every moment of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fun ride, the playoffs, while it lasted.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping we can get it together. I want to move to the outfield really quick. Crowded again. We've got hopefully Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge can stay healthy. Ever since we got Stanton, we've never really gotten much time between him and Judge because both of them have pretty much taken turns getting hurt or both at the same time. We're trying to build something here, but I remember when we first acquired him, everyone was like, "Oh, him and Judge are gonna combine to break the home run record."
Yeah.
Whatever it was between the it was like 80 something they were talking about, or over 100.
Right.
Whatever it was. And so I'm hoping they can stay healthy this year, man. There's the talent. Obviously they're both talented, but what are you thinking?
Well, yeah, like we have discussed just even the other day, we were texting about Judge and saying, the guy is a great player and he's got to put together a full season and stay healthy and be productive for the Yankees to be an elite team. They've been a great team and he has helped in a lot of ways, but sometimes whether he had that shoulder issue and he went into a slump for a while or just being injured, they have had to make do. And, what was it, 2 years ago with Next Man Up, he was out for a long time with that freak injury that they kept saying he was going to come back from. He's another one who he's got to start putting together solid, consistent seasons of no injuries. And I know some of those injuries he got were kind of freak, but he's getting to be. Everybody thinks he's so young because he's only come up in recent years, but he's close to 30, I think, right?
I think he's over 30.
Is he really? Wow.
Stanton or Judge?
Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Judge is like 28, 29 maybe. Yeah. Stanton's over 30. Judge is getting there.
Yeah, he's in those prime years. Judge really needs to have a solid season and carry the Yankees. And as their unofficial captain, that's another big part of his leadership role. And I love him. I love Judge. He is. I think he's a great player. And Stanton, he's another one. He needs a full season. They got him, and he's this contract and his playing time. For the most part, he's kind of been an albatross to them. Playoffs. I love seeing him in the playoffs because, again, I am a big fan of his. I don't want to see him fail. I get frustrated when he's not in the lineup. But big playoffs. Towards the end, when the Yankees, right before the Yankees exited, he had a couple of spots where I thought he was going to come up big and he would save those games for them. But the guy did incredible. It just goes to show you when he's healthy and he is on, there's no stopping him. He is such a big factor, and it's all about health. That really is what dictates how a team does through the year. Yankees got lucky with that whole next man up and found guys who could fill in and play well, but these are the guys you're paying the big money to, who are your big time players, and Stanton is one of the biggest. He has got to stay healthy. If he gets injured this year, I don't know what to say. The guy is just brittle, and I don't know. And it's not going to get better. He's not getting younger. None of these guys are getting younger, and it's. They just have to really play up to their potential and stay healthy for the Yankees to win.
Yeah, no, you pretty much nailed it, man. I mean, we saw, the next man up shtick in 2018. It worked great. 2019 comes, it's kind of an anomaly, right? Mike Ford doesn't really do what he did the year before that. Talkman kind of falls off a little. Miggy continues to struggle to find time, and when he's getting time, he's not really producing. So it wasn't exactly the same. But I think if there's one positive you can put on trying to get Stanton to to kind of come through and stay healthy is that Clint Frazier is waiting in the wings, and he had a really good season last year. So I think maybe that motivates Giancarlo to, stay in better shape and continue to, hit well and stay healthy. So that's one thing I'm thinking about. Maybe that kind of propels him and gets him going. But yeah, with Aaron Judge, listen, he had the really good rookie season. And ever since then, he's had a difficult time staying on the field. When he's on the field, he is a top 5, arguably top 3 player in the game. But it just has to happen. He has to stay healthy. And, the playoffs, he's kind of been very erratic too. He did have a really good start to the postseason last year, Aaron Judge. But ever since then, I think he was just, weak ground outs and a lot of strikeouts and finished not really doing much after that one Cleveland game. But, you want them to stay healthy. I think if they can stay healthy, that'll kind of get them more rhythm, going into the postseason, and that'll help them that way. So I loved what Stanton did in the playoffs. Hopefully he can build off of that. I'm hoping Judge can stay healthy. Clint Frazier, it's going to be weird to find a spot for him. Like you said, maybe we use him as a trade chip. Who else? Aaron Hicks. What do you think about this Hicks thing in center field? Obviously he's our guy going forward. We really don't have a say, but a lot of people were calling that deal, calling him underrated when he signed that deal and said Aaron Hicks is this. I just think he is who he is,
Yeah, I like Hicks. I was surprised at that contract that they gave him. Did they go, was it like a 7-year, 10 per?
Yeah.
Seemed really long for a guy like him. I was a little shocked by that. I'm like, whoa, why you're offering him a long-range deal? And granted, that was, it was a good signing for 10 per year. For a guy like him who has shown really great potential. When he's another guy who, when he is on, he is great. He can get those walks, had some big at-bats in the playoffs last year of getting some key walks. And, his swing, Yankee Stadium swing, batting left-handed, can really send the ball out with a jolt. Guy has great defense. I'll never, ever forget that play in Minnesota in 2019 when he that crazy high-scoring game, and he ended up making that diving catch in center field, and then I think he came in and hit a home run to put them ahead. That dive, though, one of the best plays. I think it was actually MLB's top play of the year of 2019. So his defense is great. His on-base percentage is great. He can work those walks. He's another guy who has been plagued here and there with injuries. He's got to have a full season. And I would love to see a healthy year of Judge in right, Hicks in center, and Clint Frazier in left. I really like Clint Frazier. As I always say, my son has red hair, and so I have I like people with red hair just because my son has red hair. And when Clint Frazier came to the Yankees, I'm like, oh man, he's the best. I love him already. The guy has shown last year that he can play in the major leagues. He is a solid player with, I think, still a really big upside. Unfortunately, got plagued with those concussion symptoms in, was it 19, when he could have started all year with all those injuries. I understand if you have to use him in a trade. They kind of he's every trade deadline for the past X amount of years. It's like, where's Clint Frazier going? Everybody's just kind of expecting him to go. I would love to see him on the Yankees long term. I think he can really help them. But, there is that bottleneck. Although Gardner, haven't heard any talks of bringing him back, although you never know. Yankees could bring him back on I think the Yankees could give him $1 million a year. He'd come back and play for them. I think he loves it so much. But he's been a really valuable Yankee, Brett Gardner, but I think it's time to let him go and give either Clint Frazier a chance. I think they still have Tauchman. I think Tauchman's got to go. If they get Brantley, there's really no room out there for Frazier too. So there's a lot of question marks. But like I said, I would love Frazier, Hicks, Judge, Stanton as DH. Because I don't know, Stanton in the outfield is him in left field's a little scary to me. I don't like him out there. And then who else? Who else is out there? Am I missing someone in the outfield that they still have?
Let's see, Judge, Stanton, potentially Gardner, Hicks, Frazier, Tauchman. That's 6.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I feel like I'm missing somebody in that scheme of things. But yeah, I think that's a solid outfield. If you can get a really great pitcher and you have to include Clint Frazier, so be it. But you still got to put someone in left field. I think you got to get Brantley, go out and get him, right? Not sure how much he's going to want per year. But, Clint Frazier probably still has he's probably still making minimum, I would imagine. So there's something right there. He's an MLB player. He should be on the team, and he should be, he should be starting. And don't bring Gardner back. Send Tauchman. Release him. He's not really, like you said, 2019 got lucky with him performing well. And then you've got who is it? Jason Dominguez? Is that his name in the minors? That everybody is really high on, saying that he's a can't miss. Not sure what his development is right now. He's still only, 19, I think? Something like that. Who knows? Maybe he comes up and you sit tight with Clint Frazier. You see how he does. And then maybe bring up Jason Dominguez if he's still on that upward trajectory, as everybody's saying, in 2022. I don't know. Or maybe this year. Who knows? If they need him. You got to always have those spare outfielders for injuries.
Yeah, they also have Florial in the system as well, so they got quite a bit of outfielders. So I don't know, but I do agree. I think if you can keep Frazier, you keep him and you start him, because I think giving him, if we give him a full season, he's somebody who goes out there and he'll hit you 30 home runs, he'll drive in 100 runs, and he'll just be productive, and he'll bring that power presence, and he's got this, this electric energy to him. I love watching him. I just feel like he's a big moments guy. I feel like he could really bring this spark to the Yankees, Clint.
Yeah, he could. And, that famous Brian Cashman, the, quote, legendary bat speed. Yes. It's for real. You see that guy swing the bat on a home run, and it is like, wow, he's good. He can play the game of baseball at a high level.
Yeah, man. So before we get to the final segment of the show, your final thoughts on the team as a whole. Do you think we have what it takes to win a World Series? Do you think we're going to come short again? What are you hoping versus what do you think? I want to know just your final overall thoughts before we get to the trivia that we're going to talk about in a second.
Oh, all right. Well, I am one of those always optimistic Yankee fans. I am, always hopeful that it's going to be a great season. I do get my realistic perspective on it. In recent years, almost every year, I'm like, oh, they can make the World Series. They can make the World Series. I have gotten more and more realistic as time has gone by. They need pitching. They got to make more moves. I don't like going into a season with just Garrett Cole, Kluber. I know we're going to get Severino back. They say maybe late July, August. That would be a really big addition if he comes back as dominant as he can be. But those other guys like Jordan Montgomery, I've been really big on Monty. I want to see him have a solid season, but I don't completely trust him. Another guy, Clark Schmidt and Davy Garcia. I think those guys are not experienced enough, and I don't have full trust in them. So I see the Yankees being a very good team and making the playoffs. But if right now, season began today, I would say no. It's a 1 to 2 rounds in the playoffs, and that's it, because they don't have the pitching. They need another quality starter, and there's too many question marks with Kluber and those young guys. It reminds me, with them going into, as of last week, really high on these young guys and saying that, this could potentially be the rotation. It reminded me, man, I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe it was like in 06 or 07, something like that, where they had all those young guys who they had rookies starting the season who they were so high on. And man, I'm trying to think of all the names.
I don't know.
Ian Kennedy was one of the guys.
Oh, man.
I don't know. It was like 3 rookies where they're like, oh, these guys are going to be awesome. They were horrible. They all fizzled and got traded eventually pretty quickly. And I feel that's the same vibe I have right now. Right. But with these big moves yesterday and showing that they might potentially be really going for it, I have hope that they're going to add to the pitching and have a really dominant staff that can really make them go far in the playoffs and be a World Series team. But right now, mediocre, not in the pitching right now.
Yeah, man, I would have to agree. I mean, I think listen, you have a good team, right? Like you said, you have a really talented team, and they're going to do enough to do well in the regular season, right? There's a good chance they win a division. At worst, they'll be a wild card. They'll get to the playoffs. They'll win maybe a round or 2, but like you said, it's that rotation that scares me. Outside of Garrett Cole at the moment, you don't have much guarantee, right? You have a lot of guys with high ceilings, maybe guys that could, but you don't have a ton of promise. There's no guarantee that Jordan Montgomery is going to pan out. There's no guarantee that Garcia is going to pitch like he did towards the end of last year. There's no guarantee that Schmidt will come out here and be this number 2 we think he is, or number 3, whatever. There's no guarantee that Kluber is going to show us, credibility again. So you really, and obviously you've got to figure out what are we doing with Tanaka, with Paxton. There's a good chance they're not here no more. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of question in that rotation. I don't love that. I also think the lineup, as great as it looks on paper, like we kind of talked about it at the top of the show, got to show more consistency at the plate in terms of, just putting together hits and good at-bats, and the strikeouts kind of pile up every October, as we see. It is a home run league, but I also think we have to remember the importance of making, putting the ball in play and stringing together hits. I think that's big too. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly confident in our chances, but I'm going to root for them like hell, man. I'm going to root for the Yankees to win it all. So that's my final take on that.
Yeah. And we haven't even gotten into the relief pitching.
Yeah, the bullpen doesn't look too great either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and, it is... Now, I'm trying to think. Is Chapman... See, is this his last year? Did he?
Yeah, I think he's got. I think he's got one more. I don't know.
Yeah, he's to me he can be really dominant, but he's not scary to me. He kind of scares me sometimes when he comes into the game and gives up a walk immediately and then a hit, and sometimes he can be off. And he's for relief pitchers is getting up there in age, right? He's got to be at least 34, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't even know, but you got him. Britton pitched really well. He is back. Ottavino has been, man. Now, I was so big on Ottavino when he came. I was like, this guy throws the ball like a wiffle ball and is going to dominate and put them over. I'm trying to think who else is in there. I think did they release Jonathan Holder?
Yes.
But they did sign Sessa. He just scares me, that guy.
And they brought back Cortez.
Oh, that's right. Cortez. Crafty Cortez.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of question marks right there. So again, we'll see what they do. See if they can shore up and be creative and make some trades. And
I think you hit it on the head, man. Sorry, I Chapman doesn't do it for me anymore. Those last two postseasons he had kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Zach Britton, when he's your only, he's really, I like him. But outside of Britton, it looks, Chad Green, I like him, but he's not always consistent. There's a lot of question mark, just like within rotation. So hopefully they can win. I got a couple of trivia questions I want to ask you, Greg. Test your knowledge on the history of the Yankees and a little bit of both. We'll talk a little history here and current to wrap it up. All right, so let's see if you can figure some stuff out here. All right, so this is going all the way back to 1921 when the Yankees first made the World Series. Do you know the first team the Yankees faced in the World Series?
Oh, man.
1921, that was the year.
21. Let's see. Limited teams back then. Trying to think who would be some of the teams of that time. I'm going to say, just because I'm thinking of, and I don't know the year of the Black Sox scandal, but let's say the White Sox.
It was actually the New York Giants. They were a baseball team back then. Remember?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I looked that up. I was like, wow, I forgot about the New York Giants because that's kind of why they started calling the football team the New York Football Giants.
Right. Yeah.
Team.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess in my mind, I always forget about that too because I'm used to the Giants and the Dodgers leaving New York and going west. Oh man.
Here's one. I got a true or false one.
Okay.
So true or false? On top of leading the Yankees all time in home runs, Babe Ruth also led them in strikeouts as a batter.
I'm going to say true.
I thought it was. I looked it up. It is false. And you know what? The answer surprised me. Leading the Yankees in strikeouts all time is Derek Jeter.
You know what? I was going to say stop. I was actually going to say Jeter just because of how much time.
Because he played for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. I was thinking that's it. I was kind of shocked, but then I was like, oh well, he played for 2 decades, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, right. I was like, wow. All right, so let's see. Let's get more current here. This one's kind of easy.
Throw me a softball here.
Yeah, I'll throw you a softball here. All right, so whose rookie home run record did Aaron Judge beat in 2017? Easier.
I should know this. Let's see. Rookie home run record. Oh wait, Yankee rookie home run record.
No, Aaron Judge hit the all-time rookie home run record. He beat somebody else who played for the Cardinals. I'll give you a hint.
All-time.
All-time rookie record for home run.
Oh man. On the Cardinals.
Well, actually, at the time, I think it was for Oakland.
Wow, for Oakland. It can't be Reggie because he didn't play with the Cardinals. Oh man. He
hit 49 of them in his rookie season in 1987.
McGuire.
Yes, McGuire. There you go.
Yes, Mark McGuire.
All right, we'll go one more.
Thanks for the hints. I don't know if I guess I was thinking old time. I'm like, oh man.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
Cardinals back in the day.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, we'll go another one. Current. In 2018, obviously Shohei Ohtani won the Rookie of the Year. But two Yankees placed in second and third. Who were those two Yankees?
It was Andujar, who should have won it. Yes. And wait, who was the other? It was who everybody thought was going to do it, but Andujar actually came in second, right?
Yeah, it was Ohtani, and then Andujar, and then there was another Yankee who came in third.
Oh man. Not. I'm trying to think. Nelson Judd. Man, who? Not.
We
Not
just talked
Gary.
about him before. No, not Gary.
Sanchez.
He's an infielder, though.
Oh, rookie of the year infielder. Not Glaber.
Yeah, Glaber.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I was trying to think. I'm like, wait, was that the same year? Because I remember. Because Glaber came up, had like everybody, was big on him and thought he was doing, everybody said he was destined to be a star, had like a lot of hype and was living up to the hype. But then Andujar came out of nowhere and was just phenomenal. And I guess I always stress about him because he should have won it over Ohtani. I think
that was the year.
I don't like to be a conspiracy theorist, but I felt like people had it out for the Yankees on that one. Like Ohtani just was like, I don't know, he got injured at the end of the year. He didn't play the rest of the year, and
I think it was just all based on hype. The hype that he can pitch and hit. Everybody was just obsessed with him right out of the gate, and I think despite the analytics being against Andujar, I still think he very much deserved it. He played for a winning team, man, and that matters to me. So. Yeah,
and he hit at least 300. Maybe he was like 298, something like that. Pretty much 300 and doubles and was just amazing. He played that year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You were 2 for 4. That's not bad. You hit 500.
Hey, you take that in baseball, right?
Take that. You were 2 for 4. I'll give you that. All right, man. Hey, is there anything you want to add? I know you've got a podcast of yourself. By the way, it's spectacular. I always listen to it whenever you put up an episode. Yankee Crazy
Thank
Podcast.
You. Appreciate it.
If you have any plugs, just let everybody know where to find you and all that stuff.
Yeah, as Rob said, Yankee Crazy Podcast, you can find us on all the platforms from Apple, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you listen to podcasts pretty much. And all social media, you can always reach out to us. Instagram, Yankee Crazy Podcast. Twitter, we are Yankee Crazy Pod because it's too long to put the cast in there. Yeah. And go like us on Facebook. Always trying to increase all our social media. And you can even email us, yankeecrazypodcast@gmail.com. And, as you know, Rob, we like to do a light take on the Yankees, always try and be positive with them. We do go off on people who need to be on the Yankees, but just try to have a lot of fun with talking about the Yankees.
Yeah, man, I love your show. It's fantastic, man. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you. Appreciate it, and appreciate being on the show. Really, it's great to be on. Love your show too. Always trying to listen and get your takes and. We agree a lot of times too, where I'm always like, I'll text you as I'm listening to it, in my car or afterwards and be like, dude, you're spot on with that.
Yeah.
So
thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right, man. Thank you, Greg.
All right. See ya.
All right. This podcast is sponsored by Anchor.